What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be talking about the trade deadline, which is coming up tomorrow, March 25th. And I'm going to be coming to you guys with a perspective on why I think the Raptors should trade both Kyle Lowry and Norman Powell. And the big reason behind this for me is the conditions of this trade deadline, so to speak. So let me explain what that really means. When you look at the trade deadline, this season specifically, there aren't a lot of marquee names. And as a result, you've got Raptors who are drawing a lot of interest. Norman Powell is having a career season, averaging 50, 40, 90, essentially as a starter. He's shown he can average 25 a game on the regular in at least, short periods of time. He can drop 30 in a game. He can drop 40 in a game potentially. He's the kind of guy that's just a pure scorer, and teams have interest in him. So for the Raptors, with so many teams interested, there's no reason not to trade him. And as a Raptors fan, you're thinking, there's a lot of attention in terms of you guys love Norman Powell. We love our own players. We fall in love with the guys that we have on our roster, and that's definitely true. But think about what happens at the end of the season, right? With Norman Powell, you've got a guy who is going to end up needing to get a lot of money this offseason. You're going to have to pay him an $80 million contract, similar to what Fred VanVleet got, because that's the caliber player he's shown the potential to be. And the Raptors don't really have that cap space available. Flexibility is a key as they start to sign players and build around this nucleus that they have. And let's be real, Norman Powell at 27 years old, going on 28, he's not really the guy that's going to be in this timeline for the Raptors, at least for this next core of players. So why not trade him, build a bit younger, and also address some of the needs, right? Get a guy maybe like Miles Turner, a guy who you can play at the center position, who can help fill in their rebounding and rim protection role that they desperately need right now. And then the thing with Kyle Lowry is, at the end of the season, he's gone no matter what, in my opinion. He wants a $50 million contract for 2 years. The Raptors aren't going to give him that. We know that, he's a token player, but at this stage in his career, he's not really worth that much. So for a contending team, he makes a lot of sense. And for the Raptors, he doesn't really make a lot of sense. Let's give him one last opportunity to compete as well for a championship. He deserves that at the very least. He's been loyal to Toronto, so why not give him the opportunity to at least go fend for another championship, go chase the dream again that I'm sure he wants. Right? This isn't to say that, Kyle Lowry doesn't want to be in Toronto. I'm sure he does, but at the end of the day, he sold his house in Toronto with the expectation that he's going to ride out this season, whether the Raptors trade him or not, and then he's going to reevaluate in the offseason. So for Toronto, why not get the assets back in return? Let Kyle Lowry compete this season as well. With the Raptors' current roster, ask yourself, do you really think they can compete with the Brooklyn Nets, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Boston Celtics when they're back on track, the Miami Heat? This is just the four best teams, not even including the Philadelphia 76ers, the team with the top seed in the East. So for me, I don't see Toronto getting past the first round. I don't see them beating any of those five teams I mentioned, let alone beating two or three of those teams to get to the NBA Finals. That's not really an aspiration of this team. So for me, I would be happy with the Raptors just making the playoffs, building younger towards the future. And let's talk about another big reason why the Raptors should trade, not only to salvage the assets, given that this season isn't a championship or bust season for the Raptors, it's actually a retool towards the future. Why not just go all in into that, trade your two guys on expiring deals who are going to get paid this offseason, get some assets in return, some younger guys, and highly coveted players at that front as well. These aren't guys that teams don't want. There are multiple teams interested in both players. Norman Powell has 12 different teams apparently that have thrown in offers, so Toronto can pick whatever they want, and they should really leverage that and get the best possible offer for Norman Powell. And with Kyle Lowry, there are three teams that are in the making right now. The Lakers, I think the Clippers as well. It should say four teams. Miami and Philly, who are the main two. Apparently, according to Sam Amico, the Raptors have gotten offers of Kendrick Nunn, Precious Achua, cap filler, and Duncan Robinson as one package, and then a Maxey Thibault-based package. Those are really great returns for Kyle Lowry. I think if the Raptors exercise one of those two offers, that would be a really good building block towards the future. I really like Precious. Getting Tyler Hero would be great, but I don't see that really happening given that he wasn't put in a trade for James Harden. If Masai does this, he's officially going to the Hall of Fame. He's a god if he does this. Because if he can pull that off, oh my god. Anyway, the next point that I want to really bring up and emphasize is this seller's market that we're in right now. With the Toronto stock market and specifically the Toronto housing market, it's been blowing up recently. And in the housing market, it's a seller's market. So you can list a house for lower and get a lot more back in return for it. In terms of you can list your house that might have been worth like $400,000 last year, and it's now worth $600,000. And that's the kind of market that we're in right now with the Raptors and with this trade deadline. There aren't a lot of sellers, and there's a lot of buyers. A lot of teams, especially with the play-in, that think they can compete this year, right? Because now they can salvage their season even if they had a worse start to the year. And, with the Raptors, they're still in a salvageable position. I'm not going to count them out. But to me, I think they're better off retooling. And as a result, becoming a seller has this benefits of you've got so many teams that want to buy right now that you're going to get more than you would expect for these kinds of players. Norman Powell, you're going to probably get a significant return. These packages for Kyle Lowry are significant. A guy that can flip the script in a series. If you were to see Miami and Philly going head-to-head, whichever team has that guy would be amazing. And the fact that you have interconference battles for him really, really turns the tide because now both teams are going to be willing to throw out their better package. Toronto is stiff on a Tyler Hero-based package, and that really intrigues me. If they could get him, like I said, that would be insane. Masai, you're a god if you do that. And that's about it for me. If you're a fan, you really want them to stay, but at the same time, the way that I put this out to you, you've got a seller's market, you've got two players, Norman Powell, who's overperforming right now, who's going to get more than he's worth. Kyle Lowry, you're going to get a good return for him on expiring contracts, guys who might walk in free agency, like we've seen with Serge Ibaka, like we've seen with Marc Gasol, and especially, as we know, with Kawhi Leonard. Players walk, they do what they want. And as a Raptors fan, you've got to hope that the team does what's best for them, which is likely to trade these guys, and it gives them a good opportunity to really flex their muscles in a playoff performance. And for Norman Powell, I think the playoffs are where you can really get paid. So for him, he wants to be in the playoffs competing for a title. That could be something that really helps him moving forward. So in an unselfish way, you're really giving him this opportunity to grow as well, which is going to be really huge for him. With Toronto, you might win a first-round series. Maybe you'll probably lose in the second round at best. If you're dishing him out to a better team, or even just a team where he can get more opportunity as like the number 2, number 3 option, then for him, he's going to have an ideal situation for the last few months going into free agency. For Kyle Lowry, like I said, you don't salvage his prime. He gets an opportunity to compete for another title. He's already a Raptor for life. He's done everything he could with the team. It's time now. I hate to say it, but Kyle Lowry should not be on the Raptors as of tomorrow, which is a bummer. It really is. And it makes people upset. It makes me upset as a Raptors fan. However, I know it's what's best for him and the team because now he's not going to be a mentor role. He's going to be more of a competing role where he can be the third guy on a championship team. Imagine him with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, or him with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. That's just amazing in my mind. I want to see that happen. Thank you guys for listening. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. Lowry, you're a Raptor for life. Raptor for life. Peace.